Holy Gospel according to Matthew.
Glory to you, O Lord.
Now when Jesus came into the district of Caesarea Philippi, he asked his disciples, "Who do people say that the Son of Man is?" And they said, "Some say John the Baptist, but others Elijah, and still others Jeremiah, or one of the prophets." He said to them, "But who do you say that I am?" Simon Peter answered, "You are the Messiah, the Son of the living God." And Jesus answered him, "Blessed are you, Simon, son of Jonah, for flesh and blood has not revealed this to you, but my God in heaven. And I tell you, you are Peter, and on this rock I will build my church, and the gates of Hades will not prevail against it. I will give you the keys of the kingdom of heaven, and whatever you bind on earth will be bound in heaven, and whatever you loose on earth will be loosed in heaven." Then he sternly ordered the disciples not to tell anyone that he was the Messiah. The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, O Christ.
You may be seated. Let me tell you a story. A small child is trying to lift a heavy stone that he could not budge. His mother stopped to watch his efforts. Finally, she asked her son, "Are you using all your strength?" And the boy says, "Yes, I am using every bit of energy and strength I have." And the more he talked, the more he sounded tired and worn out. Then the mother said to the child, "No, you are not using all your strength, because you have not asked me to help." So the boy asked his mother to help, but still that stone could not be moved. Then the mother asked her older child to help, but still they could not move it. Then a neighbor was asked to help, then another neighbor and another, and finally, with each one giving all their energy and strength to the project, the stone was moved. After everyone left, the mother turned to her young child and said, "You see, when we all work together, when we use all our strength together, we can accomplish some things that not one of us by ourselves could accomplish alone." The end of the story. With all the division in the world and the societal lie that we are better off doing things on our own than asking for help, this story makes me well up. We all have different gifts given to us by God. We aren't all designed to think or act the same way. Sometimes this becomes frustrating because we don't understand why someone is doing something a certain way or why they chose that process to accomplish the task at hand, when our way certainly would have been better, or faster, or more efficient. But despite the frustration that sometimes comes from us not all being the same, I'm grateful that this isn't the case. I just can't imagine how boring life would be if we were all just bumping into ourselves all the time, acting and thinking the same way. We certainly wouldn't have all the same advancements and creations in the world that we do now, because we wouldn't have had people who are all gifted in, because we wouldn't have people who are gifted in solving problems or brainstorming new ideas, if you were all like me, at least. We wouldn't have some people who are good at math and some people who are really artsy. Plain and simple, life would be dull. So instead of sitting in the place of frustration when someone does something in a way that we wouldn't, maybe we can turn to thankfulness for the gifts that God has given that person. Believe me, this is difficult to do, and I understand the challenge that it poses. But it's made a little easier when we look at the divinity of God within that person. In the story that I shared, it might seem that everyone has the same gift, and it was used over and over again, that strength and accessibility of helping to move the stone. And while that is true, there were other gifts that we utilized too. The gift of jumping in when someone needs help. The gift of teaching that many hands make light work. The gift of community, that we are stronger together. The gift of dedication toward accomplishing a task. Some of us have the gift of looking deeper at a situation to pull out what else might be going on that we are missing, or the gift of seeing intricate steps that need to be taken to get to a final outcome, while others of us are gifted at looking at the bigger picture and spitballing ideas, unsure how to actually implement them. And not one of these gifts is better than the other. I was recently reminded in that religious fundraising class that I was taking that most people truly want to help when they're asked. People will look for ways to support the cause if they believe in it and care about it. Sometimes we just have to be asked, like the mom taught the son in the story. The gift of asking others to help is one that not all of us have. We might come from a place of thinking we're better off doing it alone because someone else won't help the way we want, or we might crave the praise that comes from doing something alone, or we might not know how to ask for help because it was never taught to us. When we make space for others to use their gifts, the whole community thrives. God gave us different gifts because we are designed to live in community with one another. We aren't made as solitary beings who are supposed to be perfect and accomplish everything all on our own. Because the thing is, no one accomplishes any goal alone. We have help, whether from a mentor, a friend, a pastor, a parent, a child, a professional, the church, and of course, God is with us. God is filled with delight watching us use our gifts, and certainly that gladness is multiplied when we are doing it together as a community. When we come together to share our gifts, God rejoices. Here's the thing, we all have the gifts. We all have gifts, we all have different gifts, and church is a safe place to use and offer those gifts. All too often, I know I've done this myself, so I'm assuming that you have too. We think of our gifts and we think, well, they don't have value, or they aren't good enough, or they're not going to make a difference. The fact is that that's just not true. So if you're thinking of a gift right now in your head that you have, push that idea aside. Because your gift is valuable. Not just because it came from God, but because it can help someone. As church, we get to hone our gifts that may never have had space to be explored. If you like to sing, but you don't know how to read music, you can still join the choir. And guess what? You're actually not alone. There are others in choir for who this is true already. If you like to paint, but don't have anyone to share your gifts with, let me know or talk to Denise, and we will find something for you to do to use that gift around church. Maybe you really like to drive and have the time to be in the car. You could volunteer to drive folks to appointments. Now, these are just a couple of examples, but whatever your gift or gifts may be, they are valuable and certainly can be contributed here at church or within our community. The biggest thing holding us back is that we often don't know the wonderful gifts that each other of God back to each other by reminding one another of our gifts. When those ideas come into our head that say, oh, that gift's not good enough, someone else here can reflect that love of God back and say, and remind you of the gift that you have. Sometimes throughout life, for one reason or another, our gifts are dampened and we forget that God has given us different abilities. So when others know that you have gifts, we can lift them up and help honor who God made you to be. And I believe that this is one of the big gifts of the church because it helps us live into and celebrate the gifts given to us by God. Amen?
Amen.
Amen.